next item, old business. We're going to go back and take a look at the comp plan survey that Lisa has prepared. And before we start, I think our goal should be to limit the discussion to the big picture. And if we have typographical errors, grammatical change, recommendations, anything that's not substantive. Yes, substantive, thank you. All those recommendations can be emailed to Lisa.
Yeah, I think that's a really good good advice, primarily because, well, number one, it wastes time, but there may be questions that you want to completely amend, so talking about grammar and spelling at this point is probably, if it changes the meaning of a question, I would say, let's talk about it, but let's really, in some of these, there wasn't really a whole lot of guidance from the sheets that we prepared, so the question might not even be what you had intended, so we'll talk about substance first. I agree.
I apologize. Could I get a copy? Because I can't find it on my computer.
If you need an extra, I can lend you or give you.
Lisa, can I ask, is this the existing comp plan? Is it after you get the results of the survey and we look at the analysis of those results, do we completely republish this?
No, the intent of an update is not to republish the document. It is to simply provide an addendum. Now, personally, I think that makes it a little confusing for the reader, but that's really what the state wants, and that's what all the other communities are doing. So what they anticipate is that every for a 5-year, it's an addendum, and then for a 10-year, it's a full rewrite.
So the rewrite or the additions that we're putting in now, would we also be looking at information that comes from other parts of the town that, have an impact to the comp plan, such as, the revised floodplain plan, any new information we have about water resources, the factual stuff,
yes,
rather than the questionnaire stuff, which is just,
yes,
it's the citizens' voice, it's
right,
the questionnaire, but there are facts that we've been collecting through various town committees and so on. Do those kinds of things go into this now?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they
Do you want to leave this discussion and take us through?
I can do that. Yep.
Is that easier?
It doesn't matter. I'm happy to do it.
Rather than flip back and forth?
Yeah, that's fine. So you'll see that we kind of split it up. I tried to keep the introduction pretty much the same as last time. Now, I still would like to talk about the option here of doing this all online, because it would certainly be easier for tabulation purposes. And I'm trying to think about ways that we could make it easier for people that don't have access or aren't very computer literate. And I think there are ways that we could, or different techniques that we could offer to the community that would enable people that don't have access or aren't very good with computers to also fill out a questionnaire if they want to. So I still would like to seriously consider having this be an online survey. Oddly enough, South Kingstown just came out with a community survey for their comp plan update, and theirs was online. So I haven't talked to them yet about what their thoughts were behind that, or if they provided any other opportunities. By other opportunities, I mean, they could come into the town hall. We could, obviously, there's kiosks at the library that people can always use. We can help them fill it out themselves, if they want to come into our offices. So there are different ways that people could fill out a survey if they don't have access or are not very computer literate. So we again split it up by the different sections in the comprehensive plan by kind of element or topical category. And there were a couple topics that were a bit difficult to place, like the street trees, whether it should go under vegetation or transportation. So we'll make sure that they all get in the right category. Some sections are a bit longer than others, but I think that really just relates to what the hot topics are right now. We had decided, or I kind of talked you into the last meeting, about not putting the goals in because we got a positive response to all of them anyway. You know, do you agree with the following goal that was in the 2004 community comprehensive plan? Because we always got either a strong or very strong agreement with that, because most of them are very pie in the sky type of goals. And the more I thought about it, the more I talked to other planners, it made sense to put it in there because it allows us to make the statement that the community has reaffirmed our goals, or they have not. And I think that's a pretty important and powerful statement that we need to make in this update. So we have the goals added back in there at the beginning of each section. I don't think there really needs any more introduction other than that. If you want to just take it by section, we'll start with the number 1 and 2, which is really just kind of the overall questions about the community. If anybody has any comments on those first two. And they are a reiteration of questions that were in the last comprehensive plan in the survey. Any comments on 1 and 2? Going.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure it belongs in here, but you and I talked a while ago, and I don't want to get into a long discussion, like you said, I'd like to see a question in the survey, and I think it belongs here.
Okay.
Concerning a major issue to the town, and that's concerning the LNG terminal. There's a lot of controversy in this section about issues facing the town. And so I kind of drafted a question that I can give to you afterwards. If the committee would like to see it, fine. If they don't, I'm fine with that too. But basically, with all the controversy concerning the LNG terminal and with building the LNG terminal in Mount Home Bay, it's important to have a true sense of how the community feels about this issue. How do you view this development? Favorably, need an economic driver, neutral, or unfavorable economic security concerns? Just a simple question to get an accurate feel for how the community feels, because there's a lot of partisanship on both sides of this. If you want to put it in here somewhere behind it, people don't know about the issue.
I agree. It's not a bad idea. I actually would be for that.
I think it's probably, it might be a good idea, but I think we need a little bit more. There may be some people here or not that don't know what it is. And so we might have to provide a little bit more of a write-up as a front-loaded question.
It would need a long explanation.
Yeah.
A little preamble. Do you want to?
I don't know. That was just, if people were, that was only 2 that we started from, so.
Well, I mean, you can always trump that just by adding another option here. It's, I don't know enough about it to answer.
Right, that's true.
Well, if this were 1963 and we're talking about building a bridge to Newport, it would be the thing that was most going to affect the future of Jamestown. And I think that the LNG terminal is now at that same thing. That will be the thing that is most going to affect the future of Jamestown. So a lot of the planning that we're talking about doing, we could probably throw out the window if they put an LNG plant in.
I agree. I feel that it's similar to the refinery in the 50s question.
I agree, it's critical to put in, but I thank you for bringing it up, because I know they went right in my head.
I think, the town council put in the resolution, they don't have a flavor of the community. There is 80% are against, and 24, or vice versa, 80 think it's a non-issue, 1 is against.
Short of putting a ballot question on in November, this would be the only opportunity that people would have
To really get to something.
Why not?
I'd like to see a strongly agree, strongly disagree, apoplectic in there, you know. But that's fairly strong.
Yeah. The wording is.
You know, maybe Lisa could work on the wording.
I'm just trying to, I'm not sure it belongs at the beginning. I'm trying to see.
It may go with the very
I
end.
thought that at one point in one of the early sessions, we talked about it, energy in general under services and facilities. And so I'm wondering if it shouldn't go in there.